Hey, Topic Mixer family, how you doing? I just want to let you know I'm back. You probably didn't know this, but I've been out because of COVID-19. Yes, COVID-19 hit our household. I'm glad to be back. I went through it fairly well. Had fever, a cough, and that was it. We had some rough days there, but we are glad we got through it. Now I'm gonna tell you what the best thing to do if you should catch COVID-19. Make sure you're taking plenty of vitamins. Stay in contact with your doctor. Make sure you got good cough medicine, maybe a decongestant like Mucinex. Um, those are things we use. We all of our vitamins, vitamin D, uh, vitamin C, zinc. I even use this thing called echinacea. Echinacea is a wonderful supplement. You should take that. Also, a multivitamin. Took multivitamins. Took zinc, magnesium for my heart. Since I do have that issue as well, so I took care of those things. Going to see the doctor next week. Make sure everything is okay. But I am now COVID free as far as being infected. There may still be some COVID in the system. That's just part of it. Um, but during that time, I did get to set up my microphone on this wonderful stand here, and I also got to start working on my podcast. Uh, so I'm announcing that here. It's called Thought You Were Woke No Speed Limit Podcast. That'll be the next thing coming up. That one will be a little bit different format than this, and it's of course longer. Um, I have a new star that will be joining me on that podcast, my wife. So you guys won't get a chance to see her. She's not a camera type person, but you will hear her on the podcast. And I will be leaving information about that. Also, I've done some updating to Topic Mixer. As you can see down here in the corner, there's a little button that you can press so that you can subscribe. And I would love to have you subscribe to Topic Mixer. Like I said, we talk about a lot of things. If you've never been to Topic Mixer before, which a lot of you haven't, we talk about everything from politics, sports. We talk about entertainment, and tonight we're going to really talk about entertainment. Um, we talk about current events. That's what we do here. It's a place for me to come and express my opinions and give you an option to also give me feedback on those things. So, anyway, uh, I really wanted to talk about Wanda Vision. Yeah, that was, like I said, Marvel went to a whole nother level with that. Um, I thought maybe that wouldn't happen, but it did. It really did. Um, so, Wanda Vision basically is about the Scarlet Witch. Wanda's. Wanda is grieving after, of course, Vision died in Infinity War. So she's grieving about that and all the other losses she's had, like her brother and everything. So um, she's created this sort of self-involved universe. Let me tell you the whole story. It doesn't start off this way. If you haven't seen WandaVision, I do not want to spoil you, so I'm telling you right now. So I'm giving you a few seconds while you listen to me rant and rave right now to to stop the video and move ahead a few seconds or so, about 3 or 4 minutes ahead. So anyway, here's where it is. Wanda has uh, gotten Vision's body, Sword, which is a new group. Which is, if you remember, Marvel had Shield, which got uh, infiltrated by Hydra, the opposing force, the enemy force that's kind of like the Nazis, kind of trying to take over the world, kind of trying to find powers in the universe, take over the universe kind of force. Hydra has taken over Shield. Now, Sword is different from Shield in that Sword's dealing with extraterrestrial things, kind of like Space Force, Trump's Space Force. But anyway, we'll leave that alone. No more conversations about Trump right now. He's not president anymore. So let's talk about um, Sword. Sword is also, like you said, dealing with the new extraterrestrial threats. that are coming out. See, Captain Marvel brings in that extraterrestrial threat, even though we're already dealing with extraterrestrial beings when we're talking about uh, Thor. Thor is from outer space. Thor and all those who came with him, including Loki, uh, those are extraterrestrial type beings. He didn't come from Earth. Thor visits Earth on a regular basis, but he's in space. Then we're also talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy. There's supposed to be a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 coming out. To this particular movie, to this particular phase, which we're calling Phase 4 Marvel, those are some big things. So Wanda is the first. Now in this one, Scarlet Witch seems like she's going to be a villain. And the reason why I say that is because she has created this whole fictional universe. It's like a TV show, like set. It starts off like in the 50s, 1950s, 1960s type TV show, kind of like Leave It to Beaver or Lucille Ball type TV shows. That's what it starts off with in black and white. And it's her and Vision. They're like married, which never really happened in the other universe. They did fall in love, and okay, if you know anything about Marvel, it's kind of weird. She's in love with a robot. Okay, he's basically a robot, a sentient being, but he's still a robot. So, um, so in this movie, and as you know, like I said, he died in Infinity War. So now she's resurrected him and created this whole fake existence in his town, as if nothing's going on in their happy little married family and all this stuff. And but what it's done is that some of the residents of the town or other people have gotten caught up in this, and they're forced to act the way she wants them to because she's in their heads. Remember, she has psychological powers as well as all this radiation capabilities that she's gained. She also has psychological powers, to go into people's brains and you have an emotional response that gives them her control of them, and that's what she's doing, or at least it seems that way. Because at times, if you watch the show, even though it seems like she's in control, it suddenly seems like she's not in control. We're at episode 5, and this is like a lot going on in episode 5. It like opens a lot of doors, and some MCU rumors are all coming true. So here's one that I like to talk about. The first one that I saw, I thought was very important. Monica Rambeau's character. If you remember, if you've watched this, you'll know that in episode 4, actually episode 3, Monica was pushed out of Wanda's vision because she was the only one that seems to realize what Wanda was going on. She mentioned things about Wanda that none of the people in that town should have known. However, Monica did, and she brought up Vision. She brought up what happened with her brother Quicksilver, another story that I'm going to tell you about in a few minutes. She brought up those things, and of course Wanda realized, how do you know those things? So then Wanda cast her out of this set, this movie set that she's made, and that's the first time you realize Wanda's doing something she shouldn't be doing. Like everybody I've heard on plenty of other videos about that. However, in that process, you learn a lot about Monica Rambeau. Her mother died years ago. Now, if you remember Captain Marvel movie, that was her mother, not Rambeau, but her mother that was in that movie, and she died when everyone was snapped away during the years of the snap. So Rambeau, she was snapped and she disappeared. Now, of course, when Hulk put on the glove and snapped it and brought everybody back, she comes back. It's 3 years later and her mother has passed away. So, in that process, all sorts of events have happened. Of course, at the end of this, the Avengers have fought off Thanos. Thanos is dead, gone. Bye-bye. You don't have to worry about him anymore. And so things are settling down, so to speak. And so this is a continuing story. That's how Wanda ends up going after Vision's body, which Sword has, and apparently has disassembled for whatever reason, probably going after that nanotechnology. Now that Iron Man is no longer with us, he can't help them rebuild Vision. So, and Vision apparently has a will that says he does not want to be rebuilt. So, Wanda, however, like I said, suffering from such major loss and mental illness, probably because of this, decides that she's going to take his body. She resurrects him, brings him back to life, and puts him back together, apparently. And has created this whole vision, as I said earlier, of this town. Now, all these people are under her mind control, and at times they slip out. There's a couple of people that you'll really notice that will slip out because it seems like she can't exactly control them. What you also find is that there's no children around because Wanda cannot control the children. Why? Because Wanda may not actually be in control, but we'll find out later on as that goes. Like I was saying, Monica Rambeau. So in this episode, Monica takes an X-ray. When they do the X-ray and take a picture of her, the only thing they can see is her hair because there's like a bright glow around her. Now, here's the interesting thing about Monica Rambeau. She was one of the first Captain Marvels in the comic books. She would have been number 2 behind Marvel, the original Captain Marvel. And now she's number 2, which Captain Marvel currently is actually supposed to be number 3. But since that origin story takes it, she's the original, she's Captain Marvel, and then there's Marvel. So that's how it works. So, Monica Rambeau's character also becomes the character of Spectrum or Photon. So it will be one of those character names that she will take on later on. How major of a character she becomes, it will depend. I do know that her character can transform into any energy form whatsoever. She's also immortal. She can't die. She doesn't age. All those things. So this is going to be an interesting character they're building. She has the ability to shoot lightning force from her hands. Now, when she's in the form of these energies, she can't do certain things, but she can form these energies. And she can, like I say, use them to shoot them from her hands. She is a Omega level character, technically. She is like powerful, more powerful than most characters on here. Maybe not Marvel, Captain Marvel herself, but she's more powerful than most of the other characters. So we're going to see how they handle her character. It seems like they're directing her towards a minor role, but that could be deceptive. It could be a major role coming up for her. So then let's talk about the other big plus that just showed up in this thing. You know, the 2 little boys. The 2 little boys are actually part of the comic book as well. These are the sons of Scarlet Witch and Vision. So Wanda and Scarlet Witch did have children, but they were created by Wanda because of her powers. You also find that she can't control these kids, so that they're aging quite quickly whenever they feel like it. Now, this is not a power they have in the comic book, but this is a power that they have during this particular show. They have a dog that passes away, and they were trying to deal with the grief. They thought about aging again in a moment, so you can't do it. Then all of a sudden things have kind of changed. It's like there's a waning of Wanda's vision. She doesn't bring the dog back. She could have brought the dog back. She could have made everybody happy. But for some reason, suddenly she's trying to deal with unhappiness, which means there may be more to the story than meets the eye. Then she does this one thing. She goes through the force field out to where Sword is, and she warns them to leave her alone. So the question is Wanda a bad guy, or is she mixed up right now? Question is she mixed up, or is somebody controlling her? We shall find out. So she goes back in. Thing is with Vision, now Vision is starting to feel that something's wrong. He started feeling about 2 episodes ago, but he's really feeling it now. His whole attitude is changing. Like he's realizing something's not right. In fact, he uses his powers to zap one of the characters or one of the residents of this community and finds out that he's talking about being held hostage. So Vision starts getting the idea that Wanda's up to something, and he's not getting the full picture. She's not telling the truth. If you know anything about relationships, lying in a relationship or covering up the truth is not a good thing. Just believe me, don't do it. So anyway, we go on to this whole investigation of what's going on, and they sort of actually contact Vision. So Vision now is suspicious of anything that Wanda does, but Wanda's still trying to cover it up. And sometimes it seems like she's not quite there, but like I said, once she went out there, you realize she understands what's going on. She knows what's going on. And this is the one I want to talk about. Monica Rambeau's important, but so is Quicksilver in more ways than one. Because by Quicksilver showing up, and I mean the Quicksilver from the Fox version of X-Men. This is the Quicksilver that shows up. That means we are seeing a melding of the MCU from the Fox characters and other characters. Just like Spider-Man, we're seeing a melding here. They are bringing them together. You may not see the X-Men right now, but that is a sign that we're bringing the X-Men in. So we also may see Charles Xavier because of his ability to reach minds. There's a possibility that could happen in the show. Hey, I'm just saying it could happen. Don't say I didn't say it couldn't happen. Just say it could happen. So if you're watching this video, just remember that it could happen. There's some other characters they're talking about. They're probably thinking that they might introduce Fantastic Four. I think they're going to wait on that. Fantastic Four is a tricky product that hasn't quite worked out in the movies. It may be better as a TV program. I'm going to say that. It may be better as a TV program, but if they can work it out and put it in the movies, great. But I would like to see Charles Xavier or Phoenix or any of those characters in this particular movie. So, like I said, I can't wait till episode 6 of Wonda Vision. It was great. It was awesome. So that's one of the things I watched. I watched a couple other movies on Netflix. I might talk about that at some other time. So I stayed away from politics today. There's been a lot going on in politics lately. You know that Donald Trump's going on trial next week. So we'll talk about that a little bit. I'm kind of like everybody else. It's been weary. You know that January 6th thing, storming the castle, and the things that happened with Green in Congress. They sanctioned her from all of her seats in Congress, thank God. There's just a lot going on there, and we can talk about that some other time, but I thought I'd just put on the light note. By the way, it is Super Bowl weekend. Tomorrow, in fact. Actually, at the time I'm recording this, today, we're going to have a Super Bowl. It's going to be Tampa Bay versus Kansas City. Kansas City is the home team for the game. Believe it or not, Tampa Bay wanted to be able to shoot off their cannons when they score a touchdown. Okay, this is the Super Bowl. Technically, you're not in your place. This is not about you or you being the home team, So, this is Super Bowl Sunday. Even though, for the first time in history, Tampa Bay will be at home in their own stadium. Wow, who would have known? I'm looking forward to the game. I'm not a fan of Tom Brady, but I'm not a big fan of Tom Brady. And this will be his 10th Super Bowl, and it's possible he could win his 7th title. He is the GOAT as far as titles go. As far as quarterbacks go, he's one of the greatest of all times. He's playing against Patrick Mahomes, who's won his first Super Bowl, who may be the future GOAT. He got that 10-year contract, so he's got 10 years to show up and do some crazy things, and he might do it. I mean, he's got that strong arm. He's showing that he's an awesome quarterback, throwing it sideways, doing all kinds. He can do all kinds of things, so it's going to be awesome to watch. I do think Tampa has a slightly better defense than Kansas City, but Kansas City has a true defense, so it's going to be something to watch. So we'll see how this goes. Um, the one story from this week, or actually two stories from this week, the one major story from this week was the fact that Patrick Mahomes' barber, he was getting that Patrick cut, He was trying to get that State Farm deal, so he was getting that Patrick cut. Anyway, his barber caught COVID-19. They stopped midstream. I don't think it affected Patrick Mahomes. From what I hear, a lot of people say it's not an issue, but he's getting tested. Some of the other players, I think, was also using his barber. They're getting tested, so they should be available for the Super Bowl come Sunday. Also, I believe they said Antonio Brown may be questionable for the game if he's coming to the game at all. It's a remarkable kind of a turnaround story, kind of not a turnaround story, because he still has some issues going on. I guess the other major story was Matthew Stafford and going to the Rams. That was huge because the Rams had to give up 7 first-round picks. I mean, 7 years without a first-round pick. Now, the Rams can trade up, but that's even more costly to do all of that. So they're just going to basically have to do it. And I think they even lost 1 third-round pick as well. So that's a big hit for a Matthew Stafford, who's a quarterback in his 12th year in the league. Now, they've got the experience on the team. I don't know if they're going to be able to put – he should have some of the pieces in place that they need with the Rams. The Rams is actually a pretty good team. I mean, they made it to a Super Bowl, what 2 years ago? And they've got a great defense. If they can keep all of that intact, Stafford could be in for an awesome run next year. He could be in for one of those runs just like Brady was this year. Because it was expected that Brady might make it to the Super Bowl. I was thinking he wouldn't. I was hoping, because I'm a Saints fan, I was hoping the Saints would. And that's another story. They have restructured Drew Brees' contract. So we're going to see how that goes. He's getting the league minimum next year, which means they're expecting him either to retire or see minimal playing time. Jameis Winston is a free agent, so I don't know what's going to happen with the Saints. Maybe they can secure him as their starting quarterback. They didn't act like it this year. Tyson Hill was playing the starting role in a lot of those games this year, and that bothered me since he was considered the third-string quarterback. I'm not exactly sure where they're going with that, but I do know this. The Super Bowl is going to be interesting. Brady has proven the point because guess who's sitting at home right now? Belichick and the Patriots. They're sitting at home. I do not like that team. I'm just letting you know. I'm not unpatriotic. I just don't like the Patriots. So, Belichick and company are sitting at home. Not Cordell. Cam Newton turned out not to be the answer for the Patriots this year. Unfortunate for the Patriots. I don't know what their answer is going to be. They need and I don't really blame Cam Newton for that. They really didn't have any weapons whatsoever. They may have had somewhat of a running game, but that was it. The defense was there. Just wasn't enough to have a great season. So, maybe next year. Maybe next year they'll be better. I don't care if they are. I'm hoping the Saints do something about the quarterback situation and we see them in the playoffs next year and maybe they go all the way. Who dat nation, all right? Who dat nation? I can see in the championship game next year, if they get the quarterback situation, I can see the Saints versus the LA Rams. Saints go to the Super Bowl. You heard it here first on Topic Mixer next year. Saints going to the Super Bowl. So, that's the big story. Like I said, I don't know what's going to happen with that trade with Matthew Stafford. That's a big deal. Also, still in the news, the Texans, Deshaun Watkins. Deshaun Watkins wants to go. Texans want to keep him. If I was Texans, I'd just cut the rug and let it go because you're finna lose a lot more than just him. I'm just letting you know. That people do not want to play for the Texans right now, who just seems to abandon their best players and then put Deshaun Watkins in the wrong kind of situation. So, if you've done this to your quarterback, do you think he would want to play for you? Because I know I wouldn't. I would not want to play for you in that situation. I've gone on too long, but it doesn't matter. I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm enjoying talking about this right here. So, I don't think Deshaun Watkins will be in Texas next year. Titans wouldn't mind. Of course, they don't care. If he goes away, great. They don't have to worry about that because that's somebody in their division that's gone. I don't know where Deshaun Watkins will land. The debate about who's the best quarterback, right now Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, top three. Somewhere in there you got to put Wilson, Drew Brees, always was tops, but now he may be out of the league. That debate will go on forever as far as I'm concerned. Tom Brady is definitely the GOAT. He's earned the GOAT status because of what he's done and how he's done. He may have been Mr. Dink and Dunk, but this year he showed at 43 years old that he could throw some deep passes. And he may be playing for 2 more years. Great. Wonderful. So we will see what happens there. We know that Mahomes has an arm. I have a thing I want to do, and it's going to be on Topic Mixer, really about stereotypes about black quarterbacks and white quarterbacks and old quarterbacks. Stereotypes that need to just die. We got to get rid of the stereotypes for one thing. Got to get rid of the racism in football because it does exist. But we won't talk about that here today. But I hope you all enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday. I want to know, are you eating wings? Are you eating healthy? Are you eating chips? Please comment below. And I'm going to say this again. If you're watching this video, please subscribe and hit that like button. Again, it's the Topic Mixer. Y'all have a wonderful night.